Welcome to the news at the top of the hour on NTA International, reaching you live in Abuja. I am Jumma Yusuf. First, the headlines. National Assembly says correcting flaws in existing tax regimes in Nigeria would further enhance ease of doing business policy. National Inland Waterways Authority of Nigeria broker collaboration with NTA to educate Nigerians on the agency's contribution to growth of the economy. Diplomatic community commends Nigeria for aiding successful transition program and prevailing peace in South Sudan. Now, the news in details. We begin with President Muhammadu Buhari's meeting with the Management of Persons Education Group in London. A statement by the personal assistant to the president on media, Bashir Ahmed, says President Muhammadu Buhari was joined at the meeting by Nigeria's Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, Executive Secretary of NUC, Professor Abubakar Rashid, Nigeria High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Justice Adeshola Ofuntunde was also in attendance. Nigeria is now classified by the World Bank as a middle-class income country, just as the country's capital shares value in the International Bank of Reconstruction and Development rises to over $50 billion. Also, Nigeria today joined 188 other countries that have signed the International Convention Against Doping in Sports, as the Federal Executive Council approves a draft bill to be sent to the National Assembly for the domestication of the law against doping in sport. Details in our subsequent bulletin. Under the current federal system in Nigeria, some capital projects fall under the purview of the federal government. However, there are cases where a state carries out such projects on behalf of the federal government. In such cases, the state is eventually refunded. Kogi State is one of such states being owned by the federal government, and the Senate at Wednesday's plenary approved a refund of 10.69 billion naira to the state. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Onko reports.
The Senate had received the presidential request for the approval of the sum of 10.69 billion naira on the 15th of October 2019, as it is the only state in its batch that did not receive its own refund. The funds were said to have been spent on capital projects, mainly road reconstructions. The request was considered by the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debts.
That the state government has completed all the projects which it is seeking for refund. For that the state government has paid all contractors that executed the highway projects.
Because it is for the people of Kogi State.
We have done justice to others, and we have to do justice to Kogi State. It doesn't matter when this justice is coming. This justice has to be done.
Senate had mandated its Committee on Women Affairs, Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, and that of National Security and Intelligence to carry out investigative hearing on child trafficking solutions within 2 weeks. Senator Jibrin Barau moved the motion.
Mr. President, human trafficking is not just a problem in Nigeria. It is really a global problem. 2
higher institutions establishment bills were passed through second reading. They are Modibo Adama University Yola, sponsored by Senator Aishatu Dahiru, and Federal Polytechnic Aba by Senator Theodore Orji.
It's urgent that the university be transitioned into a conventional multidisciplinary institution with programs that resonate with the locals.
The need for Abia Polytechnic to be upgraded is one of utmost importance to all. As it is now, it will serve as a stable federal polytechnic in the Niger Delta.
Senator Ekone Yagenyi drew the attention of the Senate to the urgent need to check piracy and banditry in the Gulf of Guinea and Nigeria internal waters.
Urge the federal government of Nigeria through Navy to deploy more naval personnel on the Oron coastal area.
Senate mandated its Committee on Customs to meet with the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service towards improving the lives of those living across the border areas, as moved by Senator Tolu Odebi from the National Assembly. Ignatius on NT News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives says correcting the flaws of existing tax regimes in Nigeria will further enhance the ease of doing business policy of government. To this end, the House passed for second reading a bill for an act to amend the Company Income Tax Act. The bill seeks to make provision for the review of tax laws to make them more responsive to the tax reform efforts of the federal government. Sections to be amended include those dealing with value-added tax, custom excise tariff, personal income tax, stamp duties and petroleum profit tax. Lawmakers, while debating the bill, pointed to increased revenue for government, provision of incentives to investors and elimination of double taxation. The amendment would also update tax laws in tune with international standard. Now talking electoral matters, election observation helps ensure electoral integrity and strengthens civil society's capacity to promote citizen participation and foster government accountability within and well beyond the election cycle. This is what Youth and Public Safety Awareness Initiative wants to sustain with the training of its observers for the upcoming Kogi Bayelsa gubernatorial elections. Hamman Jabani reports.
Civil society mobilization to engage during elections, experts say, is for hitch-free process, deter fraud, expose irregularities, provide accurate measure for the quality of the elections, promote confidence in the process and outcome, as well as provide recommendations for improving the process for the next election. To achieve all this, the observers must be trained and equipped to carry out this simple but tasking job. This is why Youth and Public Safety Awareness Initiative, an accredited observer by INEC for the upcoming gubernatorial election in Kogi and Bayelsa, is training 130 observers within its platform. How will this training help them carry out this national duty?
Acquaint some of our observers on the process of observing the election, most in particularly about reporting and issues.
The training then will remind us some things about the guidelines of INEC, because as an observer, you're supposed to be a neutral body that is going to report situation as it's happened on ground.
Providing such training, the organizers say, will help them carry out the responsibility according to best electoral guidelines.
Even before then, we have been training, but we deem it fit to train them more, because learning is a process. Even if you have been given a lecture on INEC guideline on election observers, I think it is better for us to rub minds together and enlighten ourselves more so that we can be able to do a very efficient and effective job when we get to Bayelsa and Kogi State.
Out of the 130 will be observers, 80 will be deployed to Kogi State for the election. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
The fourth elected governor of Kogi State, Yahya Bello, upon assumption of office, identified insecurity as a huge concern in the state. Armed robbery and kidnapping were the two striking menaces that was quickly tackled then. This menace is today believed by many to have become almost a thing of the past. Thimo Yusuf reports.
Security situation hitherto met by Governor Yahya Bello was worrisome. Indigents and visitors alike were forced to reduce business hours and scope of operation. Proliferation of small arms and light weapons was the order of the day. Guns, rounds of live ammunition and other dangerous weapons were said to have been discovered in a forest between Kogi and Edo states. These discoveries underline the dangers of thick vegetation along the highways, coupled with security reports that criminals were using the state's thick vegetation as hideouts and ambush spots.
The overgrown weeds in between the road is what is the breeding ground.
Sometimes you may be passing, so far the road was a bush, you can see armed robber cross the road immediately.
In response to the security situation, Governor Yahya Bello embarked on a road vegetation clearing project in March 2017. The initiative was to remove vegetation that hinders visibility on the roads and serving as hiding areas for hoodlums as far as 40 meters from the shoulder on both sides of the road. The project, which has been in phases across the 3 senatorial districts, has so far covered the Gaja-Ajakuta Road, Ukene-Ajakuta, Ukene-Opela, Itobe-Anyigba, Anyigba-Igwe, and Ukura Ejule to Aloma. Others are the Obajana Junction to Kaba, Ukura to Ankpa, Ofu to Ida, and Aloma to Tukpa in Benue State.
We can farm with the rest of mind. We have no problem.
It's the best program.